And what's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Live, Laugh, Left podcast. Happy New Year, everybody. It is 2026. First episode of 2026. Our first episode in a couple of weeks as well. But we are back. Gary's here, as always.
Hello, everyone.
There's a lot to talk about. So we'll get into it. As we go. The NFL playoffs are set, so that's going to be a big topic today. We're going to do our NFL playoffs prediction. We're going to go over what's been going on in the college football playoffs as well, so a lot of football action to go over, good and bad. We do have some basketball stuff. Other sports been going on too, basketball, hockey. There's been some pretty big NASCAR news as well, so we're going to go over all that today. So it should be a good one. Might be a little bit of a long one, but it should be a good one today. Before we begin, I'm going to crack open a Baja Blast, and we'll get to our trivia of the episode. So good. I know Taco Bell, every time I order on the app nowadays and ask for Baja Blast, they give me a Baja Blast Zero Sugar.
I mean,
I
know you don't like it, but I like Zero Sugar. I actually, when I was at my sister's, they had Mountain Dew Baja Blast Zero Sugar, and I actually liked it. I got like 2 cans a day.
It's not a terrible drink, honestly, but I like the full sugar versions. If I ask for the full sugar version, I want the full sugar version. All right.
I can see, yeah.
You don't need to assume if I have diabetes or not. Give me the full sugar version.
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't have diabetes. At least I don't think so. But who knows? Okay, well, I got to get more trivia. We're only down to a couple things of trivia left. But our episodes are getting a little infrequent, so maybe we'll be fine. I'll think of some more. Today's trivia, since we are going to be doing a lot of football talking today, this will be a football-related trivia question. Gary, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. Shedeur Sanders became the first Browns QB since they rejoined in the NFL to do what? So the Browns rejoined the NFL in 1999. Their first Browns QB to do what since 1999?
Win a game? No, I'm just kidding. That's not the answer.
Baker Mayfield moment?
To not. What was I going to say? I'm going to go with to not get sacked for yardage.
Incorrect. The answer is win in his debut. He won his debut.
That's right. Yeah.
He won his NFL debut. Can you believe that Baker Mayfield didn't even do that? I can.
Yeah, I can't even believe it.
So I'll think of some more, but we got one more for at least the next episode. We're going to work our way up the topic list this week because I do want to end off on football. But we'll start with another heavy one. A lot of NASCAR news. Well, not technically a whole lot of NASCAR news, but some pretty strong NASCAR news. Rockingham was sold recently to a different group who do plan on keeping the track active and are putting in some more renovations to the place to try and upgrade some more facilities for the future. But it is a little scary seeing that the track did just return to NASCAR only a couple of years ago now, that it's already been sold again. A little suspicious, I'd say. Justin Alexander is now going to be the next crew chief for Eric Jones in the 43. Steve Phelps, this just happened today. Steve Phelps just resigned as the commissioner. This is following the 2311 Michael Jordan trial, which just recently ended. It seems like he is a little butthurt about what happened and has decided to leave NASCAR. He'll be gone at the end of the month. So, what a great time to leave with the Daytona 500. Just about a little over a month away at that point. Well, by that point, it'll be only a couple of weeks away. What a great time to leave, buddy. So butthurt, you had to leave the sport on its ass. As if it wasn't already on its ass, I guess. And some more sad news. As if Denny Hamlin's life hasn't already been super fucking chaotic with the championship and with the trial and all that bullshit. A fire broke out at his parents' house, and his father was killed in the fire, and his mom was severely injured. It sucks. His dad was dying of cancer, but Hamlin was very, very wanting to see his dad, or have his dad see him win a championship. They had the cigar thing that they talked about in the documentary on Netflix. And now they'll never get to smoke it together, which is very, very sad. Very, very sad. Yeah, life is not great for Denny Hamlin right now. Prayers to him. But and then NASCAR today, as well on their Instagram page, did a post covering some drivers and like what's going on in their off seasons. They did like Joey Logano, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace, and a few others. And I'm just like, the 2311 trial just ended, and Denny Hamlin just lost his dad. Is this really a respectful time to post something like this?
Right.
I don't think so. Maybe just post about something else. You ever thought about that? But yeah, rest in peace, Denny Hamlin's father. Prayers out to the Hamlin family right now. Because that really fucking sucks. Really fucking sucks.
We may hate the dude, but that doesn't mean we don't wish upon his family to go away. So
yeah, absolutely. That's all the NASCAR news that I had. Moving into, there's no other sports news. I don't think there's anything baseball related either.
double checking. Not that I heard of
now. So we'll breeze past that. Now there was some hockey action to go over as well. For MSU, they won the GLI for the second straight year. They beat Ferris State 5-2, and then beat Michigan Tech in the championship game 4-1. So back-to-back GLI titles for MSU hockey. And then in their return back to regular action, they had one more exhibition game before they get back into Big Ten play. They took down the U.S. National Development Team 4-2 at home. So, and they moved up to number 2 in the rankings again. So, pretty good stuff there. Now they're going to get back into Big Ten play. They're going to be on the road for a little bit. Hopefully they can continue the mojo and win the Big Ten. The Red Wings have also been on a tear as of late. Going over the games since our last episode, they beat the Stars 4-3 in overtime. Then they lost to Carolina 5-2. Then they beat the Maple Leafs 3-2 in overtime. They beat the Jets 2-1. They lost to the Penguins in overtime 4-3. And then they lost to the Penguins again 4-1. But then they recently just rebounded to beat the Senators 5-3. So the Red Wings sit atop the Atlantic Division with a -5 goal differential. That's awesome. Meanwhile, I think the Lightning, who are third in the division, have like a +18 goal differential. So that's awesome. But hey, wins are wins. You know, they've had some really good goalie play as of late, is what I can see, which is nice. So, as long as they can keep up the momentum into this, into like February and March, they'll probably make a playoff spot this year. But let's hope that it's not like years have passed where they collapse and end up barely missing the playoffs. Okay. I think thank you, Red Wings. It'd be great if we could do that. Um, before I let Gary take over, we'll just cover other NCAA hockey. Oh no! Actually, we're gonna wait on that one. I'll let Gary talk about the K Wings and other ECHL action that has been going on.
Okay, let me quickly go on to that. Okay, so I did go to the K Wings game. On the 26th, the K Wings did go on strike. They were a part of that situation that we talked about last.
The strike's over now, isn't it? The strike's over, right? They got it figured out.
Strike is over now. They got a thing done. And their first game from the strike was the New Year's Eve one, which I didn't put it on here. But the K Wings ended 2025 with a loss.
Just awesome, right?
Yay. Yeah, very. And then they went on to go up against, I had to go back a little bit. So they went against Toledo in Wings Event Center. 2025 ended out on a bad note. So they're going to go head to Fishers Event Center to face the Indy Fuel. They went there. First game of 2026. Let's see if the K-Wings can start on a high note. I'm assuming you can guess what happened. They lost 4-2.
Yay!
So then comes the day when I went. At the Wings Event Center, January 4th, against the same Indy Fuel team. Now, let me tell you that this was the most interesting game I have ever seen in my entire life. If you're a K-Wings fan and you watch this, you know that Lemieux, it was his first time back since the 2024 K-Wings playoff. So that's when they were getting these stuff out. So just imagine, he went down because he did bad. Yeah, I know what I just said.
Well, no, your screen froze when you showed the thing. That's why I was laughing. So it's just like an action shot of you showing the thing of the game.
What sucks is that the K-Wings had only a total of 29 shots on goal the entire game.
Damn.
You want to know how much the Indy got? 43.
Well, that's not a recipe for success, is it?
No. Let me tell you when I say. Let me read off on all the shootouts that went on. Okay? The first people to come out got goals. Then every single other person, except for the last one, got a goal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people from Indy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people from the K-Wings missed. That tells you something. It lasted 30 minutes. The longest probably I've ever seen a shootout. Actually, this was my first shootout I've ever seen. This was my first ever shootout, and I thought, it was going to be over quickly. K-Wings just going to easily get this. But then I realized, wait, the K-Wings suck at overtime and shootout, so we're going to lose this game. But I was hopeful. No. Indy won 3-2. Yeah, I'm still winless with my family at the K-Wings. So I just hope that when they face the Bison soon, we can actually, win for the first time in 2026, because we're 0-3 now in 2026. The Red Wings
Wow.
are doing better than us.
That's saying something, because the Red Wings have sucked lately the last few years.
Now, there was a good fight that I'm gonna pop up for you guys.
Ooh, fight
and
time.
Let me tell you,
fight
time. So what happened was the dude lost his helmet from the Indy Fuel. No. He lost his helmet.
Okay.
What is he thinking of going over to the guy and fighting him without his helmet? So I don't know if you could see that very well, but A-Wings posted this.
Oh boy.
Let's give it a watch.
Felix and man, they're gonna drop the glove on the blue line. Felix feeding him with uppercuts over the top. And Felix.
Oh damn! He shattered his helmet too. Then started beating the ass.
His helmet was off during it.
Yeah, I know. I saw the helmet come off, and then he just starts trying to give him a concussion. But it looked like his helmet shattered or broke into a few pieces. Well, he gone.
I mean, I was on my feet. I was yelling and yelling. My sister, for some reason, on the other side, say kill him for some reason, because my sister's too into hockey.
Kill him! Kill him! I think just imagine her saying that. Kill him!
She went to college at Western Michigan, and could probably agree. Western doesn't give two craps who you are. They will say anything they want to say.
True. We'll get to that in a minute, because I was there recently.
Ooh. But yeah, I know it's next year when they are having their farewell season in the barn. But let me be honest, and I know Tyler has already said this before, we will go to that before they leave that arena. 51
Why do people
years.
keep thinking that I keep saying that I'm going to go to the last K-Wings game at the Wings Event Center?
Not the last game, but at least go there once.
I've already been there. We went last year to a game.
I'm talking about their farewell season.
Oh.
At the stadium.
I mean, I wouldn't mind going to a game. We were going to go. Me and Ann were going to go to an early season game back in November, but tickets, we were deciding whether we were going to do that or we were going to watch the NASCAR Championship, and we decided to watch the NASCAR Championship because tickets were a little pricey and we didn't really care about going or not, so we just didn't go. I do want to get back out there. We will, though, be seeing the K-Wings in 24 days. 24 days on January 31st. Gary and I will be there with Jeffy. We're going down to Toledo to see the K-Wings versus the Walleye, and get a new stadium out of that. So
yeah, I never been there either. So that's the big thing. I've never been to any other stadium that had the K-Wings away. So
yeah, it'll be my second time seeing the K-Wings. We saw them at the Wings Event Center, and I'll be seeing them here. Apparently, it's a big rivalry, so I'm very, very excited to check it out. I'm glad we got tickets before they sold out. But we're going on January 31st. There will be a vlog from that and a stadium review coming from that, so that'll be fun. I'm pretty pumped.
I did get this. It's a little beanie hat. It's actually really, really nice. So, yeah.
Gary will be breaking that out.
Oh, yeah, I will.
So we're excited about that. As far as other hockey action goes, let's talk about that trip to,
I am so. My thing just immediately stopped for some reason. I went to go look at something and immediately go look at our stuff, and it just immediately pushed me to a different thing. So go ahead, continue.
So we just got back recently, a few days ago now, from a little trip me and Ann took. We call it the Indiana Campus Tour. That vlog is actually out now. You can go watch it. In the stadium reviews, we did 5 sporting events over the course of 4 days, and it was 4 new stadiums. So all 4 of those stadiums will get their own reviews coming out soon. They've already been recorded. They will be out within the next week or week and a half, hopefully. We did 2 hockey games on that trip, so I want to comment on those real quick before we move on, and I'll give a little bit of a synopsis of what I thought of the arenas. So we saw both Notre Dame's arena and Western's arena, so the Compton Family Ice Center and Lawson Arena. Lawson Arena will also be closing after next season, as the Broncos will move into that new arena with the K-Wings. So I wanted to check Lawson out before it closed. And I gotta say, let's talk about Compton Ice Arena. Like I said, so it's going to get its own review, so I'm just going to do a brief synopsis of the arena here. It's really nice. It has an upper deck, which is very rare for college arenas. Very spacious, very well themed, very well Irish themed. Really creepy ushers, though they are good at their job, so I have to appreciate that. Well, so I had an MSU jacket on because it was a winter jacket, and I wanted to wear it because it was cold, right? Because it was cold. When our day in Notre Dame was very, very cold. It's probably the coldest day of the trip. But we're walking around the arena, and Anne went to the bathroom, and I'm like walking around filming a couple things for the vlog and just kind of, taking everything in. This usher comes by behind my back and like grabs me on the shoulders, and he's like, MSU doesn't play today, right? Like, yeah, I know. And he's like, okay, I just didn't want to get you a few minutes into the game and you're like confused as to what game you're at. I'm like, buddy, I know what game I paid for. Like, I know the ticket that I have. I'm not 95 years old. I know where I'm going. I wasn't like the only person not wearing either Western or Notre Dame gear at this game. There were lots of people in Red Wings gear. There was lots of people in Blackhawks gear. There was lots of people just wearing plain clothes. It's just weird that he grabbed me on the shoulders like that and then said that. But I do give credit. There was a lot of rowdy kids that weren't supposed to be in our section that were in our section. Because there was like a youth hockey game going on at the practice facility, which, by the way, you can, at Notre Dame's arena, there's a window where you can look into their practice arena from the concourse of the main arena. But then, like, after the game, I guess the kids got to come and watch the main event, and they were all like sitting in sections they weren't supposed to sit. And credit to the ushers, they did a good job kicking the kids out and getting the people where they needed to go. You don't see that everywhere. MSU. But
says the person that actually,
I'm not an usher, so hush. But we only heard their goal horn during team intros. That was good because Notre Dame, in 2 games in this series, Notre Dame got shut out 4-0, and then shut out 4-0. They got swept in 2 shutouts. They didn't even score a single freaking
Western
goal,
outscored them 8 goals,
which is insane. Notre Dame is a bad team. If MSU does not sweep them in the season series this year, disappointment, very big disappointment. But Notre Dame's arena, I'll go. There's more in-depth points that I make in the actual review, but I think it's a good arena. Really, really nice. Very comfy seats. Not super expensive of an experience. I think we paid like $20-something for our tickets. And they were pretty good seats, so gotta give credit where credit is due. The other arena, though, was Lawson Arena, home of Western hockey. I have nothing to say about this arena. I can see why it's leaving. And I talk about this in the review too, but I can see why this arena is going away. It is not a very functional arena as far as crowd flow and crowd control and all that sort of stuff. It just doesn't work anymore. You can't have 3 fucking concourses, one of which is a concourse for a fucking swimming pool that's now the wrestling facility where you just buy beer. You can't have that. You can't have the concessions be in like its own little lobby, not connected to the main part of the arena. And then you have another part of the arena with the main concourse where you go to your seats, and all the stuff, all the plaques, all the historical stuff, all the jerseys, all the trophies, everything are covered by the fucking pretzel stands. You can't have that. What are you doing, people? And I'd like to point out as well that when we walked in the door, so I sat in the student section with Ann. Ann got me a guest ticket for the student section for the Lawson Lunatics. So I got to experience being a Lawson Lunatic for the night. Pretty fun experience, by the way. Great student section. Not as good as the Munsters, but pretty good.
Nah. Lawson Lunatics are on top. Always will be.
The Lawson Lunatics do win in one category, and it's that they don't have a cowbell. So I'll give them that. But we walk in, and I was expecting like to have to take stuff out of my pockets. I was expecting to like go through metal detectors before we actually got to our seats. So I was expecting it to take forever. Nope. No metal detectors, no security, nothing. Not that I would, but if I wanted to bring in a gun, I could have. And I wouldn't have gotten stopped. That's freaky. In 2026, you should not do that.
No, wait a minute. It was 2025 at the time.
No, actually, we visited this one on January 3rd, so it's 2026.
I hate it when he's right.
Only one of the 5 events that we saw was in 2025, and that was not a hockey game. We'll get to the other events shortly. You can't, and this year, you can't, after all the shootings and everything, you can't not have metal detectors. I know you can afford them, Western. I know you can afford them. And you don't.
You won a fucking national championship, for God's sake.
They just won the national championship. Put some goddamn metal detectors in there. Or just have some fucking police. There was like one cop, and he wasn't even looking in the direction of the line. He was looking somewhere else. Fortunately, nothing happened. Nobody died. No injuries. No nothing. So there's that. But other than that, I mean, they had some cool trophies about. I liked all the jerseys for all the Western players that got drafted. That was a cool little touch. And the Lawson Lunatics was a fun student section to be in. So I had a good time. And Western won again 4-0. This time I got to hear plenty of the goal horn. That was awesome. So it was cool. So that was that. I'd say, honestly, Compton Ice Arena is probably my favorite out of the 2. I don't know if it's better than Munn. It's pretty even to Munn, in my opinion. I think the environment at Munn is better, but from just a standpoint of the arena themselves, without the people in them, I would say probably Compton Ice Arena wins. So I would call it probably close to a draw in that category.
Now, when you go see the new arena for Western, you'll have to probably maneuver that a little bit.
Maybe.
Because it's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be huge because it's going to have the K-Wings there. It's going to have Western hockey. It's going to have Western basketball. Pretty much all the Western indoor sports are moving there, I think. But that's not opening until fall 2027, so we got a little bit of time still before that one opens.
I actually went by there when I was in Kalamazoo, and it's actually going decently.
I will be going there to see either a K-Wings or a Bronco hockey game, probably. Maybe both. We'll see. Because it does look pretty cool, and I think it's a good idea. Because the Wings Event Center is also very old. It's a very old arena.
51 years old.
I also talk about a lot about that in the review. It's cramped. It's old. It's not in a great location. I think it's you can tell, like, Western, like, okay, so the Wings Event Center was a better built arena to start, but it's not been taken care of as good, whereas Lawson has been very well taken care of. It just was not built correctly when it opened. So I think that's going to be good for both ends when they open that new arena. So that was that. Don't really have anything else hockey related to talk about. So we'll pass up on that. Now, the other part of the Indiana campus tour was we went and saw 3 women's basketball games. 2 new arenas, and then 1 arena that I'd already visited before, and we just did it because we were there. But we went to, first one was on New Year's Eve. We went down to Mackey Arena to see Ohio State versus Purdue women's basketball. And I wanted to really explore Mackey Arena, one of my bucket list arenas. Again, this arena will get its own review coming out soon. And the other one we visited was Assembly Hall, home of Indiana basketball. We saw MSU play Indiana there in women's again on New Year's Day. I gotta say, Mackey Arena, I had some very high expectations going into that game, or to that arena, and I didn't quite meet them. I think that's on me, because I think I set the bar a little too high. It's a lot smaller of an arena than it may seem on TV. It's a little cramped because the roof on the concourse is very small, but it is a nice arena. It's very well taken care of. A lot of history. I like the roof design. It's very cool. Comfortable seats. Lots of cool trophies to look at. Some good-looking concessions, though most of them weren't open. And the ones that were open were very much rationing their food. And then the loudness, like they... Drew?
It's easy when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake.
It's kind of ironic because there's a lot of signs around the arena that say, you're about to enter the loudest environment in college basketball. Decibel levels skyrocket or whatever like that. But you could hear a pin drop most of the game because Purdue got their ass beat. Ohio State beat Purdue, I think 83-56 was the final score. It was never really that close. So it was kind of ironic because it wasn't really loud at all. I talk more about that arena in the review as well. Still a really nice arena. It was a very cheap experience, but I'd love to see a men's game there. I'm a little scared to see a men's game there just because of how crowded I think it would be. Because the arena was not full at all, and the concourse just makes it so for some reason very cramped for the volume of people that were there, at least. So that worries me a little bit for when like a men's game's going on against like Indiana or MSU or Michigan or something like that. But who knows? I've never been to a men's game there. So now, on the other hand, the other arena we visited for the new ones was Assembly Hall. This arena may be my favorite stadium that I've ever been to. That is a statement, because I've been to a lot of great arenas, and I'm not an Indiana fan by any means. But this was awesome. All right. This arena is huge, absolutely huge, gorgeous exterior, very well taken care of on the inside too. Lots of trophies, lots of statues, absolutely gorgeous viewpoints, so much history, very, very nice staff. It was not, they were nice staff at Purdue too. We didn't really experience any truly rude staff on our trip. The only time that might have been come the case was the Notre Dame hockey staff, but I wouldn't call that rude. I just call that a little bit invasive. Call it that.
I mean, Assembly Hall is where Bob Knight made famous.
It is. It is. That's where he threw the chair. It was really, really, really beautiful. The behind the basket areas are not very tall, but the sides are huge. They go all the way up. Lots of very, very intimidating size. The concessions were great too. I got It's somewhere back there. I don't want to go grab it. It's a basketball bowl, and they put a bunch of nachos in it with like pulled pork and stuff. Really, really good. They had a lot of other cool concession items. They had like a foot-long coney dog, looked really, really good, and a few other things too. It was it's a really good concession items, and a lot of stands were open too. For a women's game, that's pretty rare, but there were a lot open. And they had a lot better of a merch selection. I cannot tell you how hard it was to find a Purdue pin, but Indiana, super easy. And overall, I think that arena, Assembly Hall, met my expectations. Because maybe I set them a little bit more reasonably after Mackey Arena, but I still had them pretty high, being one of the more highly regarded college basketball venues. And not just that, just stadiums in general. I had a lot of high expectations coming in, and I definitely think Indiana met or exceeded them in many categories. I had a lot of fun here, helped by the fact that MSU beat Indiana 80-60. It was a close first half, but not really a close second half. So that's that. But still a really, really fun experience all throughout. I loved going to both of those arenas. I'd love to see men's games both those times there. I definitely have more of an itch to go back to Assembly Hall than Mackey, but I'd love to do both. And it was really, really fun. The other game that we saw on the trip was a Western women's game at their arena. I already reviewed it, so I don't need to talk about the arena too much there, but we saw them beat Buffalo. I think it was 83 to something. Take a look. Well, I didn't write it down. Well, that's okay. I think they beat 83 to 62, I think was the score or something like that. Might have been different. I don't remember. But Western won pretty big to win that game. So that was pretty good. The only other women's basketball news besides MSU that I want to talk about is that Michigan got knocked off by Washington on the road the other day, 64 to 52. Michigan did make a rally, was down to a 4-point game at one point, but Washington was able to close it out, upsetting what was then the number 6 team in the country. And Michigan almost lost again to Minnesota right after that, but was able to pull away late. So, unfortunate. And then MSU, another Big Ten action besides their win against Indiana. They held on to beat Rutgers in a tight match, 70 to 64, right before that, and then they returned home right after that and survived against Illinois, 81 to 75. That was after Theron Halleck is, I think, done for the year with a foot injury. She played against Rutgers and then was back in a boot, which was really weird. And then during the Illinois game, Grace Van Sluten, the other best player on the MSU team, went down with a shoulder injury, and it's unknown if she is going to return or not. MSU was up almost over 20 points at one point, and Illinois had the thing down to 3 at one point, though. But MSU holds on to 81-75, and they are now up to number 15 in the AP poll, which is really, really good for them. So, glad to see that. And then men's basketball, men's basketball. MSU action. They beat Cornell at home to end off 2025, 114 to 97. Then they suffered their first Big Ten loss of the season, being beat by then number 13th ranked Nebraska 58 to 56 after 19 MSU turnovers. Can't do that. Can't do that, can you? Don't really have much of a rant to go on about this game. I was listening to it on the radio. I think the guy who did the finger gun thing at Jeremy Fears should be put down. And, yeah. 19
so that's what happened.
19 turnovers. Can't rely on Carson Cooper to make 2 free throws to tie the game up when you have 19 fucking turnovers. So that was that. Whatever. no bad. They rebounded last night though, or 2 nights ago now at the time of this going up, with a 80-51 win against USC. The highlight of that game though was not the final score, but an incident that happened with about 5 minutes to go in the game, when a fan got ejected from the arena because Tom Izzo told the ref to get him the fuck out of there. We didn't know who it was. Originally, I was in attendance at this game, and I saw the guy get ejected, and I was like, oh, just a random ass fan sitting down by the court being an ass. But I didn't really hear, he didn't throw anything on the court, I didn't really hear what he said. Come to find out, this just wasn't any guy. This was former MSU legend Paul Davis, who's still top 10 in all-time scoring for MSU basketball. Played from 2002 to 2006. He was on the 2005 Final Four team. He went on to play for the Clippers and the Washington Wizards for a little bit, but has since retired from the NBA. This guy was hammered. Absolutely hammered. If you look back on some of the clips on social media from the broadcast, I mean, he is just absolutely gone. And Izzo, and apparently what he had told the ref, the Heine's ref, who was in attendance, who was reffing the game last night. By the way, Heine's did a 6-7 right before this, so he was on a tear last night. But apparently, Paul Davis told Heine's that his mom was a whore. And then he talked to Izzo, and Izzo said, "Get him the fuck out of here." So Tom Izzo still coaching this guy after he's been off the team for 20 years almost now. That's great. Yeah, Paul Davis, what the fuck are you doing? He was slamming Twisted Teas, by the way. Great alcoholic beverage to have. People are ripping on him in the comments, too, for drinking Twisted Tea, which I don't get it. I love Twisted Tea. I think it's a great drink.
Twisted.
Keep it twisted. The whole situation is fucked. I had actually seen Paul Davis had actually came up to our window earlier that night, and he was already hammered because we didn't know who it was at the time, but he went up to the window and just went boom and just slammed the window. And this is a big dude, all right? I don't know if you've ever seen Paul Davis in person. He's a big guy, all right? Very, very big guy. When he slams the window, the whole room shakes, all right? And we didn't know that it was him at the time, and I didn't really connect the dots until today that he was the same guy who ended up getting kicked out of the arena. But it makes sense now. So, seemingly what happened, very bizarre situation, really funny, though, at the end of the day. So I caught a lot of amusement out of that one. And MSU won big in 80-51. So it's good. They move up to 13-2. They're number 12 in the rankings now. They fell after the Nebraska loss. So men at 12, women at 15, going into the new year. So pretty good. No other NCAA basketball action to talk about. Let's move on to the pros stuff. The Pistons have been also on a tear as of late. Let's run through their results since the last time that we did a episode. They beat the Kings 136-127. They lost to the Jazz on a buzzer beater 131-129. They lost again to the Clippers 112-99. Then they rebounded to beat the Lakers 128-106 to finish off their West Coast trip. Then they returned home on their first game of 2026. They lost to the Heat 118-112. And then they rebounded again, beating Cleveland on the road 114-110. That is an absolutely huge win. They always struggle against the Cavs. And then just recently, they destroyed the Knicks at home 121-90 to kick off a pretty sizable homestand for the Pistons. So that's really good. Pistons are still top of the Eastern Conference, 27-9. Their best start since 2007. They're playing some really good basketball, and that Knicks win is very impressive because it was without Jalen Duren. It was without a couple other players. They held Karl Anthony Towns, that clown, to 6 points. Really, everybody had an off night for the Knicks besides Brunson. And I hope Brunson tears his ACL and never plays basketball again. Because Kincaid is the GOAT. So, some really good stuff there for the Pistons. And that's really all the basketball action that I had to cover. So now we'll move on to the star of the show. Football. Yay. Fuck. I watch football shit. No major MSU. Oh, fuck. I forgot about this. I forgot I didn't do an episode before that. So I went to a bowl game. Day after Christmas. The Game Above Sports Bowl in Detroit. It had Northwestern versus Central Michigan. My brother being a Central attendee and fan, wanted to go to the game. So
I feel bad for him.
We went to the game, and, first ever time going to a bowl game. It was a fun experience. There's a lot of cool stuff that they do for both teams. It wasn't super crowded, being it's a MAC school against Northwestern. But I always like being in Ford Field. It's a really, really nice arena. So I had a great time at the game. Now, Central got their ass beat 38-7. Wasn't really that close ever. Northwestern went for it on fourth down on their first possession in their own territory. Didn't get it. Central did nothing on the drive, missed the field goal, and then they didn't have another scoring chance until garbage time. And Northwestern, after a sluggish first quarter, did finally pull away with it and rout Central, which sucked. Because I don't like Northwestern. I don't like them at all.
But today I did. Or that day I did. I loved them.
Shut up, bitch. Shut up, bitch. Shut up, bitch.
Fuck the chips. Fuck them.
Another interesting experience is we watched 4 college kids get booted from the stadium because they took their shirts off and started yelling obscenities at children. And they were very drunk.
Kind of
One kid bought a Michelob Ultra and then poured it straight down his pants without ever drinking any of it. I don't know what the thought process was there. But he did it. I watched it happen. I wish I didn't watch it happen, but I watched it happen. And then a little bit after that, they finally got booted. It was probably the right thing. But still really, really funny at the end of the day. So that was the Game of Sports Ball. Other NCAA action, with the season, with most of the action being over, there's been a lot of coaching changes. Michigan finally filled their head coaching vacancy. It's going to be Kyle Whittingham from Utah will be coming over. He, quote-unquote, retired. We talked about that in the last episode. But no, he's just coming over to coach Michigan. So we'll see how that works out for him, I guess. And Northwestern got a new offensive coordinator. You want to know who it is? Chip Kelly. How does this guy still get jobs? Chip fucking Kelly. Great job, Northwestern. Great job. And then Nick Marsh. Yeah, that Nick Marsh. He found a school to transfer to. Guess who it is? The number 1 team in the country right now, Indiana. Woo! So he can go do shit there and win something. Great. And then playoff action. We're down to 4 teams. The biggest upset of the second round of the playoffs. Miami upset Ohio State 24-14 in the Cotton Bowl, knocking the Buckeyes out of their chance at defending their national championship. Was not a great week for teams with a bye. Georgia lost to Ole Miss. And who's the other team? Who's the other team with a bye that lost? Who was it? I don't remember. Indiana beat Alabama, though, in dominating fashion, 38-3 in the Rose Bowl. They were the only team with the bye to make it to the semis.
It's weird you said that because my brother-in-law is he's from Purdue. He went to Purdue University, and when you sent me those pictures, he goes, "Man, they look the same as always." So, that was kind of funny. But anyways, this is the first time I heard him say this because, there's a huge rivalry between Purdue and Indiana. They battle for a trophy. He said, "I hope Indiana beats the living crap out of Purdue." That is the first time I heard him say that.
In what? They're not playing.
No, I'm saying... Oh, sorry. I hope he beats the living crap out of Alabama. There we go.
That makes more sense.
And it happened. So...
Yeah, it did. It very much did.
I loved every bit of it. I watched it. I loved every bit of it.
It did. Very much did. Fuck, who the other... Oregon. Yeah, it was Oregon beating Texas Tech in a shutout, 23-0. That's right. 23-0. Texas Tech got shut out and is eliminated. So the final 4 teams left are Oregon, Ole Miss, Indiana, and Miami. Miami's the other one still left. So one of those teams will win the national championship. So that was college football action. But the star of the show this week is without a doubt the NFL. Sad NFL. I just have to say thank you, Indianapolis Colts, for having a much larger collapse than any other team this year so that all eyes stay off the Lions. Because the Lions, folks, are done. They got eliminated from the playoffs after a 23-10 loss to the Vikings on Christmas Day. Very bad. Very, very, very bad loss. One of the worst loss of the year for sure. Goff got sacked so many times, threw 6 fucking turnovers. Ugh. Fucking sucks. Whatever. They ended the season off on a walk-off field goal, beating the Bears 19-16 on the road, finishing the year 9-8 and out of the playoffs. They finished dead last in the NFC North, which sucks because they would have won the NFC South had they been in that division. But very disappointing season for sure. The problems were shown in their Week 1 loss to Green Bay, but then they rebounded with 4 wins, so they were 4-1. I thought things would be fine. Nope. 4-1 start. How about a 5-7 finish, including a 3-game losing streak to get knocked out of the playoffs? The fuck, guys. The Lions have to for the Lions to be successful anymore, they have to invest in two things: offensive line and defense. The defense this year, again, sucked. You know why it sucked? Injuries. Again. Just like last year. But this year, the offense couldn't bail them out as much because the offensive line sucks. And when Goff doesn't have 100% perfect conditions, he sucks. I'm sorry, he sucks. You can't, that's not a successful probability for football playing. All right, Frank Ragnow's retirement, very much seen. Now they're going to be losing more offensive linemen. Graham Glasgow might retire as well. It's like Taylor Decker's probably gone. He's probably done. His career is probably over. So there you go. You lose more. Pretty much just got Penei Sewell left. So you got to beef up the offensive line so that Goff can, and then they don't have to stop. So they don't go into the second half and just completely give up the run. So you get that. And you give Goff some protection, and then you bolster up the defense. So when your entire first starting roster is out by week 8, you have some guys back up to play some fucking ball. So you have to start throwing out fucking bitch ass DJ Reed again. Get the fuck out of here, dumbass. Maybe give some help on the defensive line. I don't fucking know. Something. So that's what the Lions need to work on. But they haven't worked on that yet, but they did fire John Horton, the offensive coordinator who called plays for like 6 weeks. And then just got some free vacations to different places around the country for the rest of the season. Yeah, he gone. He got fired. Hard to feel bad for him because the games he did call plays for weren't that great. But I don't think he was given that fair of a chance. But I think they can do better as far as hiring. So, but it's all going to come down to the draft. If they can draft some guys, if they can make some trades, pick up some guys, some linemen, they already have a lot of the star power. They don't need. They don't need anything bigger. They just need sustainability. Fire the strength and conditioning coaches so you can, keep guys healthy, bolster them up, and just go with it. That's what I say. Just go with it. Because the Lions have a very, very easy schedule next year. They have the AFC South and the NFC. They have the AFC South and the No. They have their schedule. They have shit, where is it? So obviously they have the divisional games. So at home they'll have the Packers, they'll have the Bears, they'll have the Vikings. They also have the Saints, Buccaneers, Jets, Titans, and Giants. And then the Patriots. So really, if they do bolster the offensive line, they should, in theory, if they bolster the offensive line and the defense, they could go 8-1 at home next season. They could go 8-1 at home. With the only loss probably either coming to Green Bay or the Patriots. Now the road games, obviously Packers, Bears, Vikings again. They have Atlanta, Carolina, Miami, Arizona, and then the Bills. realistically, again, if they put the effort in that they need to bolster the team up, get new strength and conditioning coaches, all this shit, I could see them only losing 2 or 3 road games. You know, probably lose to the Bears because it's the fucking Bears. They probably lose to the Packers, and they probably lose to the Bills. Maybe not the Packers. Definitely the Bills, but probably, and then one of Chicago or Green Bay. That'd probably be it. So at that point, you're considering probably a 14-3 record next year. But if the whole team is injured by week 8, they're not doing shit. Not doing shit. So it seems like the path is what you want it to be. But it's all up to Brad Holmes, because this guy loves coasting on one season. So anyway, that's the Lions season in review. Fuck it. We're moving on. Don't watch this team pain me anymore. Okay. Now we're on to other NFL news. The Monday after the end of the season is always known as Black Monday for the NFL, because that's when a lot of coaches get fired. We've already had 4. The Falcons fired Raheem Morris and their GM. The Browns fired Kevin Stefanski. The Raiders fired Pete Carroll after just 1 season in Las Vegas. And, most surprisingly, the Ravens fired John Harbaugh after 18 seasons as the Ravens head coach. So a lot of vacancies being set to be filled. So that's going to be good. All teams that, have a lot of turnover with coaches, minus the Ravens, who I laugh at because they're thrown into an absolute shit show. I think that's really funny. So, gotta love it. Another NFL news, Myles Garrett broke the single season sack record for the NFL with 23 sacks, I think it was. 23. He broke that. So good job, Myles Garrett. Hopefully you can get traded to a real team in the future. But with that, that's all of the main news I had. Before we get to our NFL playoffs predictions, Garry, do you have anything else you'd like to share?
Anyone that has said that the Bears are better than the Lions, record-wise, yes. But let me tell you something. Even because you have Ben Johnson and just because you guys are going to a playoff doesn't mean you can beat the Lions. Okay? The first game we outscored you 50-something to 21. 50. Put up a 50 mark. And then, in your guys' own home, in the cold, we beat you? That's sad when we lost both games to both the Packers and the Vikings. I think you need to figure out more about how we're going to beat Detroit than, playoffs. Playoffs? You want to talk about playoffs?
Talk about playoffs. This playoffs for the NFL, no Chiefs, no Lions, no Colts after a 7-1 start. There's a lot. There's a lot of ways that this playoffs could go. But we are here. We did not do an official college football playoff prediction. We were going to, and we forgot. It's okay. But we're doing them for the NFL. So here we go. We're going to do this how I normally do it in my regular predictions videos, which are not happening anymore. All those predictions when I move over here. So we're doing it the same way that we would there. I'm going to go through each matchup one by one. We're going to predict the winner of the game all the way to the Super Bowl. We might throw in a score prediction, but The only one that I am going to be doing an official score prediction for is the Super Bowl itself. So Garry can throw in his own score predictions or whatever as well as we go. So, because this is the first time I've done this with anybody else. So here we go. So the 5-4 matchup we'll start on the AFC side of everything. The 5-4 matchup is the Texans heading on the road to face the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers, who barely squeaked out a AFC North victory with a 28-26 home win over the Ravens after the Ravens missed a field goal that would have won it.
My brother-in-law and his family were at my sister's for that game, and literally they go, "We lost this game now because the guy freaking missed the field goal." And I'm like, guys, it can happen twice, but to somebody else. Why are you giving up on your team? And then what do you know? Kicks it wide. And I'm like, I told you so. You never know until game's over, right?
The Steelers have looked absolutely dog shit the last couple of weeks without DK Metcalf. Aaron Rodgers looks absolutely cooked. The good news is that DK Metcalf is back from suspension. So and they'll be at home, so that'll give them a little bit more of an edge. Houston has looked like a pretty solid team after a 0-3 start. Really, really good defense going up against an offense that's already not very strong. Spells doom for the Steelers. And that's why I'm going to take the Texans in this one. They look like a more complete team. Steelers barely even got into the playoffs to begin with. I know they'll be at home. This will be a tight game. But I am going to go Steelers here. What are you thinking, Garry? I'm going to go Texans. Sorry, I'm going to go Texans win this one. It's going to be a tight game, but I think they'll pull it out.
Could be very close. But I'm going to go with Steelers. Steeler Nation. Hate to say it, I know. Because Aaron Rodgers is on that team, but, what can you do?
The next matchup is the AFC South winning Jacksonville Jaguars hosting Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in the 3-6 matchup. If Josh Allen does not win the Super Bowl this year, he's never going to win one. No Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson. What's the excuse, buddy? The Bills have not looked that great lately, though. Patriots got on a hot streak, took over the division. The Bills have had some nice moments since then, but overall looked very anemic on both ends of the ball, squeaking by just by high-end talent. They're going into a Jags team that has looked really, really good this year and have kind of flown under the radar for most people. Could this be the year the Jaguars finally break through and maybe break that Super Bowl drought? They're one of only 4 teams to never make the Super Bowl. Them and the Texans both could get themselves off that list this year. But who do we think is going to win this one? I'm going to take, in a close matchup, I could see this game going to overtime. I'm going to take the Bills. I mean, just because of Josh Allen's experience, just because the Jaguars, while they have looked good, can be inconsistent, I'm going to take the Bills in this one. It's going to be an overtime thriller, though. I think this could be the best game. This could be the best game of the wild card round, in my opinion. But that's my prediction.
We're just doing the wild card rounds right now, right?
Yeah. Yep.
For this episode, and then the next episode we're going
to do the whole thing right now.
I just want to make sure. I'm going to go with the Bills. Like you said, if he doesn't win this year, he ain't winning it at all. I my other gut says Jaguars, though. But I'm going to go Bills just because I think what's his name? Travis Hunter, isn't he out right now?
I think
maybe
so.
out.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
So I think that's what's going to kind of ruin them a little bit, even though they destroyed the Broncos. But, yeah.
All right. And then the final AFC wildcard matchup, Chargers, who are squeaking by on some black magic, missing almost their entire offensive line, going up against a resurgence of the Patriots dynasty with Drake May. Patriots won the East again.
Drake May.
This could be a close game because Drake May is very inexperienced in the playoffs. Inexperienced, I should say. Justin Herbert has a little bit more experience, but it's the Chargers in the playoffs. You know what that means. Pain, pain, and more pain. I'm going to take the Patriots in this one. It's going to go one of two ways. It's a close game that the Chargers beat themselves in, or it's going to be a blowout. I'm going to take the blowout route, but don't be surprised if the Chargers put up a fight in this one, I'd say. What do you think, Gary?
Jim Harbaugh used to be a Michigan coach that ruined everything for us. Why in the hell would I pick the guy that has the worst team in the entire NFL, in my opinion, the LA Chargers? So I'm going to go with oh my God, I blinked out. I'm going to go with I'll go with the Chargers. Screw it. I know I said I wouldn't, but to be honest, for some reason I blanked out on who was facing them. My brain stopped.
All right, we'll move over to the NFC side now for the wild card. On their
Patriots. I go with Patriots. Sorry, my bad. Okay, go.
The Rams are heading into Carolina. Folks, the Panthers won the fucking division at 8-9. And they're going to be, it's a rematch with Matt Stafford and the Rams, who kind of limping into the playoffs a little bit after a stinker against the, I don't even remember who it was against, but somebody. But they did beat the Cardinals to end the regular season in pretty strong fashion. So
against the Falcons.
On paper, this looks like an absolute sneeze.
Is there another one?
Might be a bloody nose. Hold on. We'll keep talking. I'll be right back.
Is it a bloody nose? Well,
stall for me.
Okay, I'm doing that. I'm going to pick the Carolina Panthers. Yeah. Pick Carolina to beat the Rams. Just because I know what's going to happen. I know Carolina is going to win. So, what's your guys' day? Leave it down in the comments. Yep. This is interesting.
All right, we're going to continue this. I'm going to go cameraless for a little bit until I can get this figured out, but we're going to continue.
Okie dokie.
If I turn the camera on, it'll be a gross scene, so you don't want to see that. But anyway, I'm gonna sound like Squidward now. By the way, on paper, this looks like an absolute funeral in favor of the Rams. But Carolina did beat the Rams earlier this year. So, makes it a little more interesting. But I would be very stupid if I did not take the Rams here. A, they're going to be looking for revenge. B, they're the more complete team. C, I can't absolutely fathom the fucking Panthers winning a playoff game this year. So I'm taking the Rams.
Well, while you were gone, I said my pick, and my pick was the Carolina Panthers. Because I have a feeling I know what's going to happen. I know it's probably going to break my bracket instantly, but guess what? I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to risk it.
I like the boldness. I do. And then another very interesting matchup in the first round. The 49ers heading on the road to face the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. The NFC West, I already talked about the Rams. The NFC West has looked like by far the best division in football this year. The 49ers, they had a chance at the 1 seed going into the final week of the season, and they ended up with the 6 seed. So that should just tell you everything you need to know there. This could be a really good game, and actually, the Eagles have looked very inconsistent all year. They've looked very sluggish. And for that reason, I am going to take the 49ers in the upset here of the defending champions. Even though it is in Philly, I am going to take the defending champion to lose. I'm going to take the 49ers here.
'49ers. I feel like the 49ers are going to get it. Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, they all have good players. And I just think, they're going to win.
And here comes the funniest matchup of the first round. Here's your Bears, folks. Division winners. Oh, what's their present for an NFC North division win, the first in 7 years? Oh, you get the Packers at home in the playoffs. The Packers. Any other matchup with these same parameters, I would take the Bears to win. The Packers are completely beat up there without their top 2 receiving targets. They're down a ton of defensive guys. Jordan Love is banged up. This should not even be that close of a match. But this is the Packers versus the Bears. That is why I am taking the Packers to win this. I think it would be incredibly funny for the Bears to do everything that they've done this season, go 11-6, win their division, seemingly break the mojo of the Bears, what they've been, with Ben Johnson. Have all that happen, only to lose to the Packers at home in the first round. I think that would be incredibly funny. So I'm going to take the Packers to win this one.
To vote for a team to win is hard for this game. Because I hate both of them. If I cheer for Packers, Jeffy's going to watch this video, and he's going to be like, Garry said go Packers. And I'm never going to say that in my life other than that time. But Ant's a Chicago fan, and I'm sorry, I can't say go Chicago. But I have no choice, so either way, this is going to turn out bad. This is the only time I'm saying it. This is the only time I'm going to say it. I hope to the greater gods that the Packers destroy the living crap out of the Bears. And then the next round, we don't even have to go to me for the next round for the Packers. I hope they get eliminated in the next round. That'd be hilarious.
Be very hilarious.
So I want the Packers to win. Just because I hate Chicago more than I hate the Packers.
I agree.
Which is tells you something.
All right. So that's the wild card round. Now the second round, it's going to look a little different for each of us. Gary, you took the Steelers to beat the Texans. And
I did.
Did you take the Bills?
Yes, I did.
So the Bills in your bracket would be going to play the Broncos in the divisional round. The one-seeded Broncos that have absolutely looked terrible yet amazing at the same time are the one seed. And for me, the Texans would be heading to face the Patriots in the other divisional game. But for you, it would be the Steelers heading to play the Patriots. So Broncos, Bills. This one is also going to be a very tight game because I think the Broncos are very fraudulent. And I could very well see them losing this game to, again, a more experienced Josh Allen. So I'm actually going to take the Bills in this one. It's going to be another tight game for sure. But I think the Bills are going to upset the Broncos here.
My inner says Bills. But there's a little glimpse of hope. The Broncos are going to make it to a Super Bowl and then be the first Super Bowl without Peyton Manning. So, I'm going to go with the Broncos to go to the next round.
So then the next matchup for you is Patriots-Steelers. For me, it's Patriots-Texans. And I think that Texans defense is going to be too much for Drake May to handle. And also, I just don't want to see the Patriots win more than I have to. So I'm going to take the Texans in the upset here. I'm going to take two lower-seeded upsets in the divisional round of the playoffs.
Well, I have the Patriots and Steelers. This is hard, but I am going to choose Steeler Nation. Steeler Nation's going to beat the Patriots somehow, some way. I don't know how they're going to do it, but that's what's going to happen.
All right, I'm going to see if my nose is fixed. Be back in a minute. Stall.
Stalling. I'm stalling. This is how you stall. Stall. I am stalling. I am stalling. Stalling is my key. Stalling. I am stalling. I don't know what to say, honestly. I'm tired. I want this to be done now. I am so goddamn tired. I'm yawning. Hopefully he gets back in time. See if he gets back in time. Is this man good? Let's see if he... There. That's better. Why is it taking him a long time?
Oh. Good news, folks. I'm back. It's like nothing happened. Except I lost a little blood. But that's okay. Alright, where were we? Oh, NFC divisionals. Let's see here. Let's see. So we both took the Packers to beat the Bears. So that means they would be traveling to Seattle. Another 7v1 matchup. Seattle should destroy the Packers. No questions asked. Seattle has probably the best defense out of anybody in the league right now. Sam Darnold has been playing at an all-pro level. And while I do think he will probably struggle in this game, the Packers are just going to be too weak to overcome anything. And then the other matchup for you will be Panthers hosting the 49ers. While for me, it'd be the Rams hosting the 49ers. So I will say that this could be the game of the playoffs. And I could see this being another overtime game. I could see Bills-Jaguars being overtime. I could see Bills-Broncos going to overtime. And I could see this game going to overtime. I'm going to give you the Rams, though. Just home field advantage. That's the only reason why I'm giving the Rams this one, is home field advantage.
49ers don't even have to drive that far.
No. But it's not their home field. So I'm going to not give them home field advantage. Now, I'm interested to hear your prediction, as Christian McCaffrey will be heading back to where he used to play, Carolina. What do you think?
So, if you guys are kind of processing what I'm about to say, it's going to be huge. In the upset, I'm taking Carolina to win.
What a bold prediction that is. I like it, though. I like the boldness. So now we move on to Conference Championship weekend. For you, this would be
Broncos Steelers.
Would be Broncos versus Steelers. For me, it would be Texans versus Bills. Funny enough. And then in the NFC bracket, for you, it would be Seahawks and Panthers. And for me, it would be Seahawks Rams. So, Texans versus Bills. Texans would be actually hosting a playoff game as a 5 seed. I don't think a non-division winner's ever hosted a playoff game before. This is a very unlikely matchup, but I could see it happening. Texans strong defense, but Josh Allen in this situation before, how many times has he reached the conference championship and failed. Too many times. This time he will not be going up against Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. So can he get the job done? Against CJ Stroud? Folks, I hate to say it. No, I don't think he can. I think he's proven too many times this season and in other games in the past that doesn't matter who he's playing, he just can't get it done in big situations. And that's why I'm taking the Texans in this one. I think it'll be an overtime game again. It'll be a lot of overtime. But I think it's true. So it'll be a tight game. The Texans are not that good. But I think they'll pull it off here to go to their first ever Super Bowl.
So, do I think the Steelers are going to win? Well, I'm sorry, but the AFC Championship game will be Aaron Rodgers' last time he's on a football team. Because guess what? The Broncos are going to eliminate him, and I can't wait for that to happen. Aaron Rodgers has always been the kryptonite to the Detroit Lions. And now when he finally retires, I can say that the Lions, when he was with the Packers, the Lions intercepted his last pass as a Packer. Last pass was intercepted by the Lions as a Packer.
Great. It's great stuff. I'd love to see that happen. I think the Broncos in the Super Bowl will be good.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Oh boy. Now for me, actually NFC Championship predictions. So for me, again, it'll be Seahawks-Rams. Rematch of that thriller that happened just a few weeks ago. This time again in Seattle. I could see this again, folks, being another overtime game. But again, just because of home cooking. Well, no. Home cooking ain't going to work this time because it's fucking Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold might squeak by against a Packers roster that's half beat up. But they ain't going to squeak by Matthew Stafford. No. Taking the Rams to win this one. I don't even think it'll go overtime. Fuck it. No overtime. I think Stafford will cook him. And Darnold will have another stinker of a game. And he won't get bailed out by the fact that he's facing a fucking retirement home on the other side of the field.
So let's all remember the time in the MLB this past season. Seattle beat the Tigers, and then they had to go on to face a team to try to go to the World Series. And they failed. Man, Seattle's going to have more to be painful on. Because the Carolina Panthers are going to come into town and they're going to destroy the Seattle Seahawks and upset their hopes of winning a championship again, but this time in football.
That's a bold prediction.
Just Seattle. Seattle. Just admit it. You guys were only good at basketball. Oh, wait. You don't have a basketball team anymore. That's right.
True.
But at least you got Kraken, right?
True. All right. So, Super Bowl predictions. Super Bowl 60. For you, it's Broncos versus Panthers. For me, it's Texans versus Rams, a matchup of the 5 seeds in the Super Bowl. Folks, I hate to say it, the Texans might just be happy to be here. Should be happy to be here. I think Stafford's going to cream them en route to his second ring. A ring that might send him into retirement because of how old he is. My final score for Super Bowl 60 between the Texans and the Rams, 37-21.
Now, if you guys understand what I just did, let's bring it back to Super Bowl 50, which was at Levi's Stadium, where they're going to this year. It was Peyton Manning versus Cam Newton, Broncos versus Panthers. This time, it's two young quarterbacks going at it for one prize. This time, Bryce Young ain't going to drop the ball like Cam Newton. No. No, he's not. But Bo Nix, he ain't like Peyton Manning. So Carolina's going to come up 8-9 and lose to the Broncos. The final score 35-34 because of a field goal.
Wow. I like it. I like the prediction. I like what you were doing with that. It's a good one.
That just means Super Bowl 70 is going to be at Levi's Stadium, too.
Not true. Hopefully that stadium's not around when that Super Bowl happens. Anyway.
It's 10 years from now.
That's all I got to say. It's all we got for this episode. A lot's been going on. I don't know if we'll get back to more consistent episodes or not. We'll just have to see how it works as far as timing goes and whatnot. But we'll be back soon with another episode. We've got some more events that we're going to go to, more stadiums to see. And, of course, the NFL playoffs are continuing. The college football playoffs are continuing. So there's a lot of stuff to see with that. So it should be good. It should be very, very good. So that's going to do it, though, for this episode. It was a nice long one. Thank you to Garry for coming on again. And as always, just go check out more amazing stuff on the Pringleson YouTube channel, including some vlogs and other stuff coming from the Indiana campus tour and a few other things, too. Until next time, see you guys later. Drop your Super Bowl predictions in the comments below. What do you think of our predictions? What would you like us to talk about next? So until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.